Oh, he's the shove-it man!
Before we start on our quest to find our first ever A on Ring of the Hawk, I wanted to make one more NWA TNA review, because I like it, alright? It all sounds like it's gone a bit quiet on the hunt for the NWA explosion footage, but I don't want to let that one slide. A few people mentioned in the comments last time that they would ask people like Cornette and Billy Corgan on Twitter, but I've heard nothing from those people. So if you're one of those people who's done some digging for the Shove It Squad, comment down below. We'd all love an update. Let's not rest on this. It'll basically be like having an entirely new TNA show to watch from the beginning of its glory days. Think of how great that would be. For those of you who still aren't sold, the Young Bucks and Okada wrestled most of their matches on TNA Explosion. So if you ever want to see one of those matches, you have to do some digging. Now if you dig that, we can move on to the show today. It's NWA TNA, makes the girls play. So what happened last time apart from constant copyright problems? To refresh you all, AJ Styles beat Low Key in a 2 out of 3 Falls match. So he's the number 1 contender for the X Division title. X-Pac and Road Dogg are now in TNA. Sorry, Six-Pac and BG James. Oh, and America's Most Wanted won their first ever tag gold. Will that be a sign of things to come this week, or will it be a bag of mould? We start out this week with James and Pac. James tries to rhyme, but it doesn't sound as good when the Hawk does it. He talks trash to Truth, and then Pac tries to join in, but he just looks lost and confused. The world champion Truth comes out looking a fair bit happier than normal. The crowd start chanting loudly overrated. I do think his match quality has been average at best so far, but his promos have been great. Then a wild Slapnuts appears.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
Jarrett asks where Scott Hall is and asks if he's fighting his demons again. He also said that it was supposed to be a 6-man tag tonight, but they can't do it now because Scott Hall's no-showed. Skipper and Lawler appear out of nowhere, but James and Pat take care of them pretty easily. Because Hall's bailed out, apparently it'll be a 3-on-2 handicap match instead tonight. We got a match now. It's the Amazing Red versus Shark Boy. Elix Skipper runs out to the commentary desk and he's complaining that he's been removed from the main event tonight. So it's just going to be a standard tag in the main event tonight. How strange and confusing. Elix accuses TNA of racism and says he agrees with Truth's views on them. An albino Harry Potter then arrives on the scenes to watch the X Division match. Shark Boy's really popular and he throws Red out the ring and then he follows it up crashing down on top of him. The Shark suplexes Red on the outside. He tries another dive but he pretty much misses. 3 out of 10, just like your girl. She makes this Hawk want to hurl. Red then shows him how it's supposed to be done with his own dive. They get back in the ring and Shark Boy hits what looks like almost a jackhammer from the top rope. Red fights back with a diving net breaker. The Shark then nails the Dead Sea Drop, but that doesn't end the match. This one's really back and forth. Shark tries his finisher from the top, but Red reverses it into an inverted DDT. Red then springs straight to the top and hits the infrared and a shooting star press, and it's over. Skipper immediately jumps Red and he starts beating up security and going nuts until the Nazi security arrive. Low Key will be challenging for the world title tonight. Low Key, aka Warrior, says that Truth hates the X Division because it's taken the attention away from him. He says it's not the size of the fighter, but the size of the fight in the fighter. I preferred the version that DMX used about dogs. The SATs are meant to come out now, but Truth is out instead, complaining about what Low Key just said. I can barely hear him because the crowd won't stop chanting overrated. Truth says the match will happen now instead of later tonight, and Key comes out for the match. Low Key delivers some kicks and then Truth bails from the ring. Truth's happier on the outside and he beats up Low Key. Key tries to fight back by diving from the barrier, but Truth boots him and Low Key falls into the laps of tonight's lovely audience. I wonder how they felt about that. They brawl around the arena. The highlight is Truth ramming Low Key with a case on wheels. Back in the ring, Truth is fully in control of the match. Albino Harry Potter is out watching again. Why would either of these guys want him as a manager? All he's done so far is manage a couple of dicks for 2 shows and then they left. Truth hits a downward spiral and a power slam on Warrior, but he can't put him away. Truth then misses a dive and Low Key finally has a chance to get back in the match. Key hits a springing kick for the 2 count. He tries another spring, but Truth catches him, and Low Key reverses that one flawlessly into the dragon submission across the ropes. Because he's on the ropes, he has to break the hold. Truth then fights back by crushing Key's neck and vertebrae, but he only gets a 2. Key tries to hit the Truth for consequences, but Low Key reverses that into a submission. Truth fights out of that. Both men are battling at the top, and then Truth hits a front sit-out suplex and makes the cover, and it's over. Someone has a sign saying that the Truth is Tracy Chapman. How is he like Tracy Chapman? He tries to rant on the microphone again, but then he's jumped by a man in a white hoodie, Mr. Wrestling 3. We all know who this is going to be. Next up, we do get the SATs. You know, there's something seriously wrong with these guys. They have zero personality and I can't tell them apart. Are they brothers? They'll be taking on the Flying Elvises. I can't believe that Yang's actually here for once. Yang basically continued his WCW in the Young Dragons with Kaz Hayashi over in Japan. That's why he's never here. Yang does that cool spin in the air again. The Maximos get a 2 on him with a double dropkick. They get another 2 count on a dropkick powerbomb combo. Yang stops their offense with a moonsault. Sonny, don't look at my ass, Siaki is seen smiling at the top of the ramp. I'd love to interview this guy. He'd probably be top of my list of people I want to interview. I like the obscure ones, you know. No Stone Cold, no Rock, I want Sonny Siaki, because he's a complete cock. No, I seriously mean it though. If anyone has a hookup for him, give me a shout. Jorge finally comes into the match and he hits the trip to Graceland, followed by a dive for a 2. Talking of trips to Graceland, I'm pushing for 100k, so make sure you subscribe and shut up and smack that bell icon. Hey, I said I'd do it once a month. Probably been about that. I ain't counting. Jorge hits a diving, twisting headbutt, which I believe is supposed to be his finisher, but it's broken up. Jimmy's really fun to watch in this match, but the camera keeps missing half his stuff. Sonny then appears on the ring apron, and Jorge tries to tag him in. Why? Is Jorge a complete idiot? Sonny burned his outfit on the last show. Is that not a clear enough intention that he doesn't like the Flying Elvises? The Maximos then hit a double team move, and this one's over. The SATs will be challenging for the tag titles. In the back, Sonny Siaki is sneaking around, but Jerry Lynn jumps him. AJ then jumps Jerry Lynn, and him and Siaki beat Jerry up. They then shut him in a case. I don't know why this wasn't mentioned again. Sonny walks off to have a match. His music starts playing and AJ Styles is dancing to it. AJ is so wacky in early TNA, I love it. Siaki seems to be in full rock mode here, and he'll be taking on ex-cab driver David Young, who we haven't seen in ages, thank God. He was previously managed by Bobcat, and she was ruining his matches. Young is looking a bit slimmer these days. He's able to hit a springing moonsault to the outside. In the ring, Young also hits a Hurricanrana. Siaki fights back with a cutter and he gets a 2 count. Sonny then hangs David in the Tree of Woe and hits a couple of running shoulders. David tries to mount a comeback with a Northern Lights, but Siaki immediately floors him again. It's not going well for David, and Siaki gives him an overhead belly to belly into the corner. David then gets a hope spot and hits his special spinebuster, but he doesn't make a cover and the commentary team go absolutely nuts with him. He's just kind of standing there staring into space. David then goes up top for a moonsault, but he misses, and then Sonny hits him with the money clip to end the match. It's only episode 15 of this TNA show, and they're already talking about David Young being a loser. It didn't take long. In the back, Goldilocks is interviewing a Nazi about Storm and Harris, and he seems to be in a very bad mood about all his losses. He'll be teaming with the Australian heavyweight champion, who goes on to join Sports Entertainment Extreme one day and then disappears from wrestling entirely. Where's Brian Lee? Why is it this guy? Storm and Harris come out to the ring. Look at those cute cat guns. They'll be taking on the Australian Nazis. Storm and Harris work well together to take out Steve Irwin Jr. Storm then hits a dropkick from the top and Harris hits a crossbody on the Nazi. He looks absolutely livid tonight. Harris takes out the Aussie with a spear, and then the Cowboy tries to join in, but he gets stopped on the top rope. The Aussie hits the Sydney suplex and tags in the Nazi boy. This guy is just so dislikable, I don't know what it is. He hits a spinning side slam on Storm, but he doesn't cover him. Storm then manages to tag his partner in, and he's house on fire. Harris even hits the catatonic on the Aussie, but the Nazi breaks up the pin attempt. Baldy Boy tries a big boot but misses and he hits his own partner, and now it's over. The Nazi then attacks his own partner after the match because he's a bad loser. I don't think this guy's won a single match. Why does he keep getting title opportunities? He starts going nuts with a steel chair, and then he beats up some NWA nerds until his twin brother comes out to stop him. Everybody wants to beat him up, but they can't quite manage it. I know how they felt. Jerry Lynn is in the back crying with the Flying Elvises. Not quite sure what his problem is, but whatever it is, he seems to have got out of that case now. We've got a ladder match next for the X Division title. Styles is in even more of an unusual mood than normal. He'll be facing the champion Jerry Lynn. This is already the second time these two have been involved in a ladder match, as Lynn won the title in a triple threat ladder match also involving Low Ki. Styles uses his body to crash on top of Lynn on the ladder. Lynn tries to mount a comeback, but Styles almost knocks his tough out. Styles just can't get back in the ring as Lynn dropkicks the ladder into Styles. Lynn then does allow Styles back into the ring and he smacks the ladder into him. After a short period of dominance, Styles throws Lynn into the ladder. They then try for ages to set up a ladder in the corner. They were trying for the spot for ages, but the ladder just kept falling over. Styles starts to climb it for some reason and then Lynn springs up and hits a powerbomb on him. Styles hits a move of his own next as he hits a Death Valley driver onto the ladder and immediately follows it up with a springboard moonsault. Styles tries to get the belt, but Lynn brutally pulls him down. We now have two spectators, with Albino Harry Potter and Sonny Don't Look at My Ass Siaki. Lynn tries to climb the ladder, but Styles jumps off the top rope with a dropkick. AJ then decides that Lynn isn't hurt enough, and he sets up a ladder from the apron to the crowd barrier. It proves to be a bad decision, because Lynn suplexes him on it. Lynn starts climbing again, but Styles rushes the ladder and causes a ref bump. Styles brings in a chair, and then we get a beautiful exchange which ends up with Lynn giving Styles the Fame-asser into the chair. AJ's busted open, which I believe is the first time in TNA that's happened to him. Styles tries a powerbomb off the ladder, but Lynn reverses it into Hurricanrana. The crowd are loving this match. Lynn tries once again to get the belt, but Styles gets him off a backdrop suplex. Both men continue trying to get the belt at the top of the ladder, and then Lynn tries a suplex. But in reality, they both look like they got suplexed. I don't know who came off worse from that one. Lynn tries to finish off Styles, but Siaki is getting involved now, so Lynn takes him out. The distraction allows AJ to wake up and he dives onto Lynn on the outside. Styles then takes down the belt and he's now a 2-time X Division champion. Can we please stop switching the belt around now? It feels like it changes almost too weekly. Siaki and Styles beat up Lynn after the match until some X Division goons make the save. Mold Armstrong gets a mic and then he almost puts me to sleep. He says the win doesn't count and they'll have another ladder match next week, so he's not the champion. Just the main event now is the bizarre Brian Lawler with his girlfriend April. They still haven't explained why wrestlers were giving her money on the first few shows. He teams up with a wild Slapnuts. They take on BG James and Six Pack, who have a microphone. We get a really bizarre promo. Pac says that he's banging Lawler's girlfriend behind his back, and if he's nice, he'll let him watch next time. Lawler almost blows steam out of his nose like one of those cartoons. Everyone starts fighting all over the arena. It does eventually turn into a normal tag match, but the crowd chants are too distracting for Lawler. James gets isolated for a while, and then he also gets bitten by Lawler. Pac finally comes in and he almost pins Jarrett with a powerbomb. Pac tries the X Factor, but Lawler sort of falls over. The referee is distracted and Elix Skipper comes out and he starts to attack Pac. Skipper wants to be part of this match so badly, so BG James takes him out. Jarrett almost puts Pac to sleep. He should have just asked him to watch one of his world title reigns, that'll do the trick. Pac fights up, but Jarrett drops him on the ropes. Pac then makes the tag to BG James and he hits the pump handle on Lawler for the free. Everyone continues fighting after the bell. Even the SATs appear and hit the Spanish Fly on Skipper. Slapnut starts hitting everyone with a chair as he's known to do, and then the show ends with the bad guys on the roster standing tall. Let's move on to our second episode of the night. Just to pre-warn you, this next episode seemed to have a lot of misfires and production problems. I'm not sure what was going on in TNA with this episode. So like I was just saying, there's a lot of problems on this show and that's demonstrated straight away, as the production team seems to think that Ed Ferrara is still here on commentary, despite not being here for absolutely ages. How the hell did they screw that one up? We then cut to another shot of the commentary team and Don West is giving someone a lecture. What the hell is going on with this one? The Truth comes out and he tells JB to beat it. Truth isn't exactly having a good time making friends with the crowd this week. He's just complaining about being attacked by Mr. Wrestling 3 on the last show. He starts yelling at Don West for some reason, and Don West yells at him back and tells him a few home truths. This goes on for quite a while. Eventually he's interrupted by BG James and Six Pack. BG tells him to stop complaining about everything and tells him that we don't live in a perfect world. And then out walks Mr. Perfect, Curt Hennig, to make his TNA debut. The three friends take turns making fun of Truth, and then they go on to fight, but Lawler and Jarrett jump them. We get an impromptu 6-man tag match to start the show. Lawler is distracted by his girlfriend once again. Hennig starts off with Jarrett and he knocks all the bad guys down whilst Lawler almost has a meltdown on the ring apron. Jarrett gets the better of Hennig, but he turns it around and snaps Jarrett off in return. Lawler comes in and tries to dive on Pac, but completely misses, and he looks stupid, but he does nail a power slam to redeem himself a bit. James tries to hit the shake, rattle and roll on Truth, who dodges it, but then he tries a random headstand, and James just smacks him when he gets up. It looks a bit wacky. In return, Truth hits him with a scissors kick, and James continues to be isolated. Eventually, he brings Pac into the match and he hits a spinning heel kick and a crossbody from the top on Jarrett. Lawler tries to break up the pin, but he just crashes into his own partner. Can this guy do anything right? We then get our first kick to the slash zone on the video, and it's done by who else but Slapnuts. Truth comes in and hits a running power slam on Pac. Jarrett then hits Pat with a vertical suplex, and Hennig has to break up the pin. Truth continues the assault with a sit-out front suplex. Lawler then tries to make Pac tap out whilst he's completely losing the plot. He eventually screws up though and Pac powerbombs him. Hennig gets the tag and he cleans house. He floors Lawler with the clothesline as James and Jarrett fight to the back. Lawler jabs Hennig in the slash zone and he climbs to the top for the hip hop drop and he hits it, but the pin's broken up by Pac. Pac then hits the X Factor on Truth, but Lawler pulls the referee out the ring and smacks the referee one. Mr. Wrestling 3 then comes into the ring and hits a powerbomb on Killings. Hennig nails the Hennigplex and it's over. So we know who Mr. Wrestling 3 turns out to be in the end, but it can't be that person right now as this guy's clearly a wrestler. Goldilocks is in the back and BG James has been knocked out by Jeff Jarrett with a pipe. JB now brings out the X Division champion Jerry Lynn, but his belt's already been suspended above the ring for the ladder match later tonight. Lynn tells Sonny don't look at my ass Siaki that he's pissed off with him. Don't Look then comes out mic in hand and says his name 5 times and then they brawl up the ramp. Sonny throws him off the ramp and Lynn looks like he's hurt his little leg. He's got it stuck in a gate. Unfortunately for him, no one comes to help and he's left with the idiot JB trying to help. Well, they do come eventually and they put him on a stretcher and they cart him off, so it looks like the ladder match is in doubt for tonight. He's gone. In the back, Pac is begging Low-Ki to accept his apology for how horrible he was about Low-Ki last week. Styles then walks up and he's being wacky again. He tells Pac that he should be his favourite wrestler and not Low-Ki. Pac looks quite amused by this exchange. The Spanish announce team are now up for their tag title match against Storm and Harris. The Cowboy starts out working the arm of twin number 1 until he starts working on Storm's leg. The other one then comes off the top with a drop kick and Harris runs into him with a big time spear. Harris continues beating them up by pushing one of them off the top rope onto the outside on the other. Chris Harris also hits a dive onto the outside. He seems like he's really in the mood for this one. Storm then gets completely wiped out by the SAT's moonsault. He's not wiped for too long though as he hits a huge hope spot and gets Harris into the match. Harris hits a lovely power slam but he only gets a 2 count. This is a competitive back and forth match and it's almost over after another moonsault. The SATs then goes to the well once too often and try another moonsault, but this time Storm hits one with a super kick. Somehow it's only a 2 count. I guess Storm's kicks aren't quite as devastating at this point in his career. Storm has to kick out of a top rope leg drop. Harris then hits the catatonic, but it's still not over. Storm and Harris then win the match with a beautiful move that looked devastating to be fair. I have no idea what they call that one, but it's great and I've not seen it before. Good match. Well, last episode we had Screech from Saved by the Bell. This week it's Chris Rock, who says that if you think wrestling's fake, come get your ass kicked in TNA. This is probably the biggest celebrity TNA ever got. Him or Shaq. He's here to film for his movie Head of State. It wasn't much of an appearance, and he didn't really do anything for the rest of the night. Here's the film clip involving TNA anyway. If you want to watch the whole film, go find it yourself or shove it.
And you know, if he hasn't responded, it's because he has too much integrity.
Now it's a fatal 4-way, 15-minute Iron Man match. Jesus, that's going to be hard to keep track of. Kid Cash versus Tony Mamaluke versus Ace Steel on acid versus Low-Ki. Albino Harry Potter's also on commentary telling us how he's scouting the X Division and he's looking for a guy to manage. Kid Cash is really good as normal until he almost kills Ace Steel. We get the standard dive to the outside part of the X Division match, it is what it is. Cash and Low-Ki both attempt to springboard into the ring at the same time and they crash into each other. I've not seen that one before, that was cool. Both men are then wiped out and Ace Steel and Tony Mamaluke both make a cover to go 1-up in this match. Several minutes go by and Kid Cash pins Tony Mamaluke. Strangely for an X Division match, Low-Ki makes Ace Steel tap out. We are now all tied with 6 minutes 30 seconds on the clock and everyone with 1 point. Kid Cash randomly throws Tony Mamaluke off the commentary desk and he looks like he goes for a pin, but then he realises he can't do it. Low-Ki hurts his little ankle and Ace Steel throws him through the air to hurt it even more. I will say that Mortimer Plumtree is good on commentary. He's well spoken but not over the top. He doesn't take away from the match. Everyone is really struggling by now, especially Low-Ki. Everyone's trying to make each other tap out apart from no one's trying to make Low-Ki tap out. The man with the crippled leg. It doesn't even make sense. And then it all goes completely wrong. The timing was off or something. Low-Ki goes for a suplex on Ace Steel. The bell then rings because the 15-minute time limit is up. Mortimer Plumtree is on the outside holding onto Low-Ki and Ace Steel makes the cover as the ref counts it, even though the bell clearly rings. By the time the freeze counted, it's about 4 seconds after the bell went. It made no sense that it was still counted, it was completely botched. It then went from bad to worse because it's Hermie Sadler. This guy is a charisma black hole. He's driving a TNA car or something soon. Then suddenly, I never thought I'd be happy to see this guy. 90% of you watching right now are straight, but there's 10% of you watching right now that might not be. And that's okay, because you're all together listening to the Hawk talk. It's Miss TNA, Bruce. Bruce asks him if he drives a go-kart for a living. Then he asks if he wants to be a wrestler or a race car driver. Suddenly a wild slapnuts appears. I'm not even sure what he has to do with any of this. Well, pipe down, because my questions are answered straight away. Jarrett says that he doesn't think Hermie's a good enough driver to be representing TNA. Hermie surprisingly owns Jarrett on the mic and reminds him that he's not successful either because he has 0 gold. He also asks Miss TNA Bruce if he wants to be a man or a woman. Bruce gets angry about this and charges the ring with his best friend Jarrett. They beat up Hermie together and BG James then makes the save. Of course, James also tells us his new catchphrase.
Get it, got it, shove it.
Completely random tag match now as the Nazi boys teaming up with Sonny Siaki. Why doesn't he just get his brother instead of all these random people? They take on Chris and Rick Michaels, who are making their TNA debuts. No relation to Shawn and apparently no relation to each other. The commentary keep describing the Michaels team as young lions, but they've been around since the early 90s. In fact, Rick Michaels trained AJ Styles. Siaki throws one of them overhead with the belly-to-belly on the outside. I was bored during this match, so I looked it up. The Nazis' win record is absolutely 0 at the moment. Siaki has the match won, but the Nazis a dick and stops his own team from winning. He then accidentally boots Siaki in the face, and he's lost again. The Michaels team will now be challenging for the tag belts next week, despite only turning up at TNA right now. Siaki fights him after the match until the Nazi Brothers security team come out. He then gets more physical than usual with Siaki. They're obviously hinting that these guys are going to team up. Please, I don't want to see these two guys as a team. They completely suck whether together or apart. NWA nerds out next to address the situation with the X Division title match. They decided that Ace Steel will now be facing AJ Styles for the X Division title tonight. That raises more than a few questions. Warrior comes out because he knows it's stupid. Plumtree and Ace Steel come out and they make fun of Low-Ki, and Plumtree compares him to rodent excrement. Then it gets really weird, and Plumtree accuses Low-Ki of trying to beat up Tammy Sitch. Where the hell did that one come from? What the hell? Low-Ki gets really angry, maybe he hit a nerve, I don't know. I wish someone would pin him down and brush his teeth though. Road Dogg's old mold dad interjects himself. He says Low-Ki and Ace Steel will face each other for the #1 contendership, so both these guys are doing double duty. Steel works on Key's leg straight away. I'm still left with more questions than answers here. What was that about Tammy Sitch? I didn't quite catch it. Low-Ki beat her up or something? Has Jerry Lynn been stripped of his belt? That doesn't seem fair. He was jumped by Sonny Siaki. Plumtree uses a steel chair. We then get another botch. What the hell's going on with this show? It's terrible. It's announced as a count out, and then it's announced as a disqualification. No one knows what's going on. The ends of these matches have been a complete mess tonight. Road Dogg's dad says that tonight there'll be a ladder match where anyone can compete if they want to. What was the point in the whole Ace Steel thing then? Why have him win earlier on? I'm so freaking confused. This isn't fair on Styles either. He legit won his way into a one-on-one match for the X Division title. Either way, he doesn't seem that annoyed. He's just chilling on his way to the ring again. Everything's in complete chaos here. So who else have we got in this match? It's the SATs, Tony Mamaluke and Kid Cash. Are we low on money tonight or something? Why have we booked everyone twice or in some cases 3 times tonight? AJ hits the shooting stars press to the outside. He then gets back in the ring and takes out both the SATs on his own. Styles hits the brainbuster on Kid Cash and he takes out Ace Steel on the outside. Mamaluke spears Styles to slow him down. He then climbs to the top to get the belt and the SATs drop kick the ladder, but it barely connects. Cash crushes Styles with the ladder. We then get the best move of the night as Styles crushes an SAT between 2 ladders and then they powerbomb the other SAT into the wreckage. Thanks for coming, boys. Next time bring a personality with you.
NWA Impact brings you the Smack of the Week, sponsored by All New Blonde for Men. If you're a brown-haired Potter, put some blonde in it. It makes you look hotter. Oh, and the SAT's hung upside down on the ladder, and here comes Stars with another ladder, and he crushes the boy in the ladders. The boy's down, and now they've got the other SAT, and this boy's gonna get powerbombed straight to the ladder, and wham! Both these SATs are down. That was the NWA TNA Smack of the Week, sponsored by Blonde Just for Men. Get it, got it, shove it.
Cash almost dies on the ladder. I'm feeling some of these shots from my nest. Kid Cash is then up the ladder and he tries to do a moonsault, but everyone pretty much misses him. Back in the ring, Tony Mamaluke is rolling around screaming in pain for real. Everyone is fighting on the ladders. Cash hits a DDT off the top on SAT. Then we get another botch, this time from Tony Mamaluke. Then there's a ref bump as Styles falls into him from the top. This is the most car crash match I've ever seen. This match has knocked 5 years off all their careers. Kid Cash dives out the ring to the outside. AJ and an SAT are fighting on top of the ladder and then it tips over with everything crushing him in the slash zone. Jesus Christ, it was about 19 years ago, but has this guy had kids or not? Surely not after that one. Next up, Cash drop kicks the ladder to send more bodies flying. Kid Cash is stupidly up the ladder again even though he's almost died several times. He should just go home at this point. He gets suplex from the top. Styles takes out Ace Steel with a sit-out powerbomb. Mamaluke then gets Styles at the top and both men crash down to the ground. There's still wrestlers fighting everywhere in the arena. This match is completely mad. Styles randomly picks up Tony Mamaluke and he body presses him out the ring. Styles then takes out Kid Cash with a brainbuster from the top and he's about to win. And then it's Six Pack. He runs out and hits a suplex on AJ and then he climbs up the ladder and takes down the belt. What? That makes no sense. I get the match was open to anyone, but you can't just skip the whole match surely, and then decide to join at the end. That's not fair. Whatever, the matches haven't made much sense tonight. I'm not going to question it much more than that. That match was pure insanity. I don't think I've ever seen a match quite like it. How all of these men survived this match is beyond me. It was a spot fest and it was botchy, but everything looked like it really hurt, so I couldn't look away. Apparently there will be yet another ladder match next week between Pac and Styles this time. But that's it for another week, my little friends. We'll have to save that video for another day. So once again, I'm saying this, but hardly any wacky stuff on the whole show, and it's wrestling heavy again. Was the wrestling good? I don't know. I'm sure people on the internet would say it is, because they like the spot fest kind of matches. And yeah, you can't take your eyes off it when this sort of thing's going on, but there's not much psychology to it. It looked like at least 3 guys seriously hurt themselves tonight. So keep it simple, don't like it, let's fight.